we are red. In order to all be in the shot, you have to be inside the microphone. If you move your chair to where Joyce is, kind of.
Yeah.
You're on the camera right now.
Okay, I'm going.
If you sit in this chair, right here, you're off the camera.
Okay, that's
All
right.
right? You have to be pretty much inside the desk and
We're all
inside the
here,
microphone.
I'm gonna put you on speaker. Good morning.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Pat.
Oh,
How's your day going?
good thing.
Great.
We're ready to start.
Okay, so we'll call this meeting to order.
Okay?
All right, and the first and only order of business is that the Taylor Outlet Craft Fair person that leases the space, Joyce, the LLC, has asked, she's already contracted with those people, and they've already paid their money. She's asked that we extend the time and begin in July instead of June, because it's less than 2 weeks away. She will have to go back. It's not really a question of, it's not really a question of the money. It's a question of their professionalism and integrity, because these people have already contracted. It's a very high-end craft fair, and we have been, for lack of a better word, dicking around with this for now almost 2.5 years. And suddenly, within 2 weeks, we're asking them to, I believe, George, correct me if I'm wrong, there are 4 craft fair crafters and there are 2 food vendors.
That's correct.
Okay, so that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about 80 vendors, just so everybody has a better understanding of how many people we're talking about. So, with that, I'm going to make a motion that we allow them to continue with their June craft fair, and we will be very stringent upon making them comply with the hawkers and peddlers beginning in July craft fair. That's my
Second?
motion.
Second?
There's a motion and a second. Is there discussion?
Yes.
Okay?
We sent a letter out. Joyce, do you have a letter that was sent?
I do.
How long ago? 2 weeks ago now?
Yes,
And that letter expressly notified her that
not her, it went to Eric.
went to Eric, that he should have forwarded to her.
That was sent out to Eric, and then it was forwarded to her. And just so you know how how craft fairs work, they pay 2 months. Most of them, particularly the high-end craft fairs, you are paying 2 or 3 months in advance for this space.
How does that pertain to this?
We've already paid and contracted this time with the LLC.
We're talking about what, 4 or 5 individuals out of, what do I have, 50 to 80 crafters is what Eric said usually takes part in these?
This time it's, I believe it's 50 or 60, not 80.
Okay, so again, I don't know how whether she's paid for it or not. Are you telling me if we require these people, because we've sent them a letter saying that they would be required to have
She did not give the letter in time, Chaplain. You have to be fair to the people that all of a sudden for 4 years, this would be their 3rd year, have not been required to have a hawkers and peddlers. And now within 2 weeks of the show, she's required to have a hawkers and peddlers. She has no problem complying with the criteria. However, with such a short notice, she has to go back to those vendors and say, oh, by the way, you owe more now, and they have to make a decision whether or not it's going to be worth them being in the show, and that could make space or it couldn't. I mean, they could drop right out of the show.
Okay. That's the cost of doing business, isn't it?
Well, it is the cost of doing business, but it's your integrity too, and we're the ones that are causing it, not there. That's not fair to her.
I didn't understand anything you just said. You're being muffled by the phone.
It's It's her integrity, and we're the ones that caused it. It's not anything that she's done, and she's the one that's paying the price for it. In other words, it doesn't, we're not talking about money, Catherine. We're talking about integrity.
I don't
And
see
she's
where
the one
integrity
that's the
has
face
anything
between
to
the
do with
crackers
this.
and tender. So therefore, she's the one that's on the line for this, and we're the ones that are causing it.
What happened to, when we discussed this with Eric Prue last year? Did he put it on the back burner and didn't tell anybody?
We told them to put it on the back burner because it was decided that we didn't need it for the craft fairs. Remember? When we went through this for Judy Tilton.
No, I
We
believe
took the check back, we brought the check.
saying it for years, that they need them, including the farmers. But, you know, it isn't the craft fair that needs them, it's the individuals. It's not her that needs them, it's the individuals. And I understand she organized it, and she's gonna be the person to let them know. But we have people that walk in here off the street who need a hawkers and peddlers for, let's say, this weekend, and they get her done. She's had a month's notice. We sent that out a month before that her
We have schedule. not had a month's notice. We did not send it directly to her.
We sent it to Eric Prue.
Well,
So Eric had
So
Eric
you're
had to take the time to send it to her.
so you're telling me that Eric Prue isn't capable or cognizant enough to get that to her, knowing that the information is important?
Well, number one,
So I guess we
we
have to
told
ask-
Eric that we were going to follow up on it because we didn't know which way it was going to go because we had 3 years telling us we didn't need a hawkers and peddlers. Do you remember?
No, when we asked Joyce to send that letter, we had determined that they would need hawkers and peddlers. That's why we asked her to send the letter. There was no putting it on the back burner at that point. The board made a decision to have Joyce send him a letter letting him know that they need hawkers and peddlers.
Right, and he responded by email saying he didn't need one.
So, you know, yeah.
So the onus is
So,
on him.
you know, the problem here is arrogance on Tanger's part, not anything that the selectmen did wrong. You know, more than a month's notice is sufficient. When we have people coming here and getting her done in a
I don't think it
day.
was arrogance on Taylor's part. I think it was not knowing the situation and the laws. Now he knows the situation and the laws. I don't think it's anything to do with arrogance on Taylor's part.
Well, we sent him a letter saying, you're gonna need hawkers and peddlers.
Yeah, we could be talking about, if we were talking about this 3 months ago, I would absolutely go with you on this argument, Catherine. We have less than 2 weeks and we're demanding that they do this or not participate in the craft fair. I don't feel that's fair.
The point is, the letter went out 4 weeks ago.
No, May
The
24th.
letter did not go to the craft fair. So
You know what, let's just call the vote, because this isn't going anywhere.
Right.
Just call the vote. I call the question, whatever, call it. I'm not gonna take this back and forth, I've been doing it for too long. Years.
All right. All those in favor of allowing them to have to participate in the craft fair and then get the hawkers and peddlers for the June craft, for the July craft fair and all future craft fairs? Say aye.
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 Opposed?
Absolutely no.
No.
Madam Chairman, I'd like to make a motion. You still there?
Yeah.
Okay.
To show that Captain Dawson.
I would like to make a motion to require,
Joe, before you do that, I want to be clear on the motion because it's a voice one to me.
Okay.
The end result of that, were there 3 ayes?
3 yes and 2 no. 3 yes, 2 no.
Okay, thank you. All right, go ahead, Joe.
I would like to make a motion that the individuals for that craft fair that would require a hawkers and peddlers license be required to fill out the forms and that we waive the associated fees for that one show.
I'll second that.
So that there can be a matter of record.
Matter of record, we waive the fee, we require the information. I think that embodies the spirit of the RSA's, but I could vote to waive the fees, I think. But that's my motion anyway. That the fees be waived, but the paperwork be required. They have enough time to fill out that paperwork. I don't think that that would be onerous necessarily.
And that was seconded by Al.
Okay.
Just get on the table.
Is there any discussion on that? We've already made a motion to allow them to go through June, so.
Right.
That's correct, but they're also going to be required to fill out the paperwork,
But there
in
will,
my motion.
and in his motion, there will be no fees, just, but they will fill out paperwork.
What happens if you, what happens if they don't make it in time? I'm just putting that out
If they comply with the spirit of this, it shouldn't be any problem whatsoever.
If they don't, we already have a motion on the table, we doesn't go through with it.
And so they will. However, if my motion carries, they'll at least have been required to fill out the paperwork. If they do it or not, that's a separate issue that we could address at that time.
What I'm saying, Joe, is we should have incorporated that into the prior motion, and that was excellent point.
By the time I thought of this, you were getting ready.
It's two separate motions.
You can just go forward with this. I don't think this.
I don't have a problem with, I don't have a problem with that, I'm just wondering the legalities of trying to enforce one over the other.
It's a motion made by the selectmen.
We can have Joyce send the application to the person in charge of all the craft tables, and she can forward it on to those who would be required to get a license with the information that for this show, they would not be, we would waive the fees, but we want the paperwork anyway.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I don't think it was a question of fees. I think it was a question more of not being, not being up to date with what is required by the town more than that. But
True enough. My main idea here is to get the information that would cover us in the spirit of the RSA's. These are informational tools to know who's selling stuff in this town. Okie dokie, these people are subject to that law, even if we don't charge them a fee this time because of the time frame. We should still have the information. So
the people that participate in June don't necessarily participate in July and don't necessarily
that's okay.
participate in September.
That's okay.
But this way, if something goes on in June and we get complaints, we would have had a list of the people, even though.
That's good.
And know who they are.
We'll know who they are.
I'm fine with that.
Okay then.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
All right, why don't you call the vote?
All those in favor?
Yes.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
Okay.
That's 3 yeses, 2 noes.
All right. So, Joyce, you make the phone call to...
Yep, she's waiting for me to call her and let her know what the board decided, and I'll make sure she has the forms and she understands what she has to do.
But you have to have them done prior to the craft fair, and then there will be no fee incurred on it, but she has to comply with
Yes.
it by July. So she has to get those forms for the next
Yes.
craft fair now, because my understanding is, according to Eric, I haven't talked to Joyce, but according to Eric, these shows, well, I've done the craft fair, so I know you have to do them 2 or 3 months in advance. She has got to go back to these people that are in July show.
Yeah.
And so you have to comply to these.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct.
That gives her 6 weeks to do so, and they can make their choice accordingly.
Right, exactly.
Okay?
Right.
Okay.
Right, is there anything else?
I make a motion, we adjourn?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
All right.
See you later, everyone.
Thank you. We'll talk to you when you're back in town. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, this is